Guys, I guess it's just been a rough week for treasure hunters. This week I was supposed to go out metal detecting. I was going to take my Garrett AT Max out with Heath, and we were going to go check out a spot that Casey found, and sadly he had some health issues that landed him in the ER. And then if you can't tell, I'm nasal, and I got hit by the worst case of sinusitis that I've ever had, to the point where I felt like my eye was going to pop out of my head. With that being said, I decided that the best place to be was the water, because the water is always kind of a healing place for me. I feel better whenever I'm out there. I get to see all of the beautiful nature, as well as save a little bit of history at the same time. So, this is going to be a shorter video. I am going to give y'all a warning, however, I couldn't help it. There again, just felt too bad to get out and film like I should have. So let's go jump in the water and go see what we can find. It's a little hard to see. This looks like a pistol. If it is, it's going to be a really small one. Or it's going to be a cap gun. Probably a cap gun. Yep. That's pretty cool though. We'll take that. I don't know how old it is. It says Smoky right there on the handle. That's a really neat display case item in my opinion. Definitely coming out with us on this side over here. It says Smoky too. Have to do a little bit of research. But if I had to guess, it's probably from the 1950s. Pretty cool. So as we walk through these creeks, these reeds right here make things really interesting because you can't see the bottom right where we're walking at. However, just kind of feel with your feet. That's where these potato forks come in handy. We kind of probe in front of us as we walk to hopefully scare the snapping turtles out of the way. That's at least my theory. I don't know whether it works or not, but I'll say this, neither one of us have been bit by a turtle yet. While I was picking up the cap gun, Miranda was picking up a nice straight side Coke whiskey glass candidate. This is going to be a Hill script, so you can see it right down there on the bottom. It's from Birmingham, and that is going to be an awesome whiskey glass candidate. No bad chips or anything. This will be cut and repurposed and listed on our eBay store here soon. Very nice find, babe. Yesterday was a bust, so today we're headed to another creek. Let's go see what we can find. This water is crystal clear today. The broken bottle right here. I'm gonna just kick it to the side, considering it's already broken. And my truck is in the shop getting new brakes put on, so we don't have our rakes today. So if whatever I go in after, I have to reach in and get wet to get. So here we go, I kicked it over here where it's a little bit shallower. That's a different style bottle. I don't know what that would have been, to be 100% truthful, other than it would have had an ACL or an applied color label on there. It would have had like a painted label right around in here. Probably from the 1940s or 50s. Judging the styles, not quite as old as what we're looking for. So let's keep going, see what else we come up with. Just pick this up right here. You can barely make it out, but right there it says Alicola. This would have been a Birmingham, Alabama bottle. You can see Birmingham right there. Would have probably been the shoulder script variant. Pretty common bottle, but it is an older one at well over a century old, and it would have held soda. So it doesn't belong in here. We'll get it out. I just snagged this off the bottom for my wife's jewelry making. And check that out. It's got a little boat on it. Look at that, babe. Is that a bottle?
The top of one.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's the top of the Alicola that I just picked up. Look at that.
Ooh.
See the boat on it?
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful with the age cracks in it. Definitely can make something cool out of that. This could be the top to that Alicola that we picked up. Definitely an older crown top. So I have walked up on this log that you see here, and the reason for that is I'm giving myself a bit of an aerial advantage. The taller you are, the better you can see, and the deeper you can peer into the water and hopefully pick out something cool. All right, can you see it? Right there is a bottle that is buried in the bottom. Can't tell if it's gonna be old or new, but we're about to find out together. Here we go. Oh, it's deep. It's embossed, I can tell you that much. Oh, it's missing the top, but I think I'm gonna have a really good whiskey glass out of that. Let's see. There we go, get it where y'all can see it. Would have been a Coca-Cola Pioneer Bottling Works. And it sure enough, that is going to be an awesome upcycle whiskey glass with that embossing on it. There again, that's over a 100-year-old soda bottle. And I'm always excited to have these even when they're broken, because they make an awesome upcycled drinking or whiskey glass with a little bit of a American history behind it. So we'll take that all day long, and hopefully there's gonna be a whole one down here waiting on us. My wife just picked up this Raleigh's right here. This would have been a newer one, I believe, from the 1930s. So not quite as old as that soda that we just picked up. We need to go back about another 10 years from that soda to find the Hutchinson style bottles that we like to really find. This would have been a nice early flask. I don't typically showcase just the slick amber ones all the time, but this one has a little sunk circle right there where a paper label would have went, which is pretty neat. Sadly, this one does have the shoulder busted out of it, but that would have been cool, and it really makes me wonder what the paper label would have said. Also, my wife picked this up too.
Got something written on it inside.
Something mood. Would have been like a jar lid. You can see where the metal strap would have went over the top of it to latch the lid in place. So we're starting to get into some more glass right here, but man, it is absolutely stunning out here today. The water's calm, it's crystal clear, and the creek seems to be a bit loaded with glass and chicken bones.
You.
Another really nice piece of rounded creek glass from a plate or a bowl. It's got great color though. You see the really clean spot right there where the rocks are, and how everything else has like a bit of a layer of silt on it? What caused that? I know what did, but I'm curious to see how many of you watching know what caused that in the bottom of the creek. My wife picked up this little bottle right here. It's got a lot of embossing going on it. From what I can gather though, it's some kind of mixture, because up here it says something about the contents in 1 cup of sugar, and then it says something about maybe calcified water. Then it says for a glass full, use amount shown. That's kind of interesting. Also she picked a couple of these things. That looks like part of a keychain. She thought that was a silver coin at first, but most of the time silver coins in the water are black, so definitely a piece of aluminum, not silver. My wife just picked this pre-1915 shoulder script straight side Coke up. This one would have been from Birmingham. Sadly, it's got too much damage to really do much with it, other than to get it out of here where nobody will stand on it that's kayaking or swimming, and hopefully to keep the animals safe. All right, I had a little bit of heart failure. I was on the phone with a phone call, and a rather large snake just came right by me. You can see his head right there. And I'm talking about, came within 4 inches of me, guys. Looks like he's a copperhead. And I'm talking about absolute heart failure. He is a good sized snake. I don't think he was coming after me. He was just floating with the current. However, I'm gonna give him a lot of respect and go all the way around him. And now I'm a little bit jumpy. Something just hit my leg and made me jump. So I'm gonna walk way around this guy. First clay marble of the day, right behind the snake. Maybe he was guarding the marble. Beautiful clay marble though. We'll take that all day long. Still have yet to find one whole bottle. It's just absolutely killing us right now. Hopefully there's going to be something waiting on us right around in here. There's usually some good glass. I'm kind of avoiding the bank now after that snake though. It's got me just nervous. I've always had a healthy respect for those guys, but when they're every bit as big around as your arm, it's just a little bit unnerving. All right, I'm pretty sure I see a bottle right here. Let's see if it's anything good or if it's modern. With the length of it, it's gonna be a modern bottle, sadly. But there again, does not belong in here, so let's get it out. And it is whole, so we're on the right track. I see it, little square one.
Slick on one side. Oh.
Is it slick on both?
I know it's got the...
Oh, it's a Castoria.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, we'll take that. It's whole, it's embossed, and that's better than what we've done so far today. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it going, see what else we can find. It does have a little bit of a heel chip down there.
Aw, poo.
That's all right. This is probably the most modern Whitmore bottle that I've ever found. This would have been a shoe polish. It's kind of interesting. It still is embossed, but still no whole sodas. Got to be here someplace, guys. I mean, we've been following this creek now for about 2 miles, so hopefully we'll come across one here in a minute. She got some pretty glass walking down that side. And a...
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, did you not? It's pretty.
No.
She got a Maxim pocket knife from RSC Equipment Rental.
Did better than I did on that side. There wasn't much of anything over there. Since this was a shorter adventure this week, I thought it would be a good time to give y'all a little bit of a shop update. I've had a few people ask me to show you what all has been done over the last month because I haven't kept y'all up to date. So I'm gonna do that now. So as you can see, we have taken the tin all the way around the base of the building right here. And most people call that wainscoting. I decided to go with that because I thought it would be a little bit more rigid for the amount of stuff that I do that's dirt involved and wet. So we got that portion done. And then it came down to, okay, what kind of siding do I want to put up? So we came over here and we started with this siding. I started looking to find out what would be the most economical way to go about this. I looked for old barn wood. I struggled. I couldn't find any that didn't have tons of termites or rotten spots in it. Went to Lowe's and even looked at some of the tongue and groove stuff. However, it was ridiculous. It was like $14 to $18 per board. So what I decided to do was I decided to go to a lumber mill and get some of their rough sawn 1x6s. So right now that's what we're using, is just rough sawn wood. And I think it's turning out pretty good. We've only done this wall so far, but I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. Aesthetically, I really like how it is. So you may look at it and go, hey, well, you got a plug here, you got a plug over there, you got a plug there. What's that plug for? Well, that's gonna be for this huge monitor that you see down here. Eventually, this is gonna be like the set where we can do live streams and stuff over here in this corner. The Coke machine will get moved over here to the side. And just a bunch of the Coca-Cola memorabilia, stuff like that that I have will go on this wall around the TV. Now, the stuff that you don't see is inside of here. And this was just a huge ordeal, was getting this thing wired. Right now, we are wired with a 100 amp service, and this was incredibly expensive, guys. I'm not gonna lie, it really, really got me. This wire right here is a number 4 copper wire. I had to run over 150 feet, and it absolutely about broke me. That was super expensive. I think just for the wire itself, it was like $1,200 or $1,300, which was ridiculous. So inside of this room right here, we were just on the outside. This is going to be where the 3D printer and the laser engraver sits. This is going to be running our tumbler parts. And I know I've done a terrible job of keeping y'all updated on that. The other reason I haven't finished the walls in here yet is we're trying to figure out if we're going to do a mini split AC with 2 rooms, or whether we're going to do a window unit and then a mini split in the main shop area. With a 100 amp service, I've limited myself. I don't have 220 down here, but it was going to be really, really expensive to do. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is sticking with like a 12,000 BTU mini split for in here, and probably about the same size out here. Of course, I got to do a bunch of insulation work and stuff like that before the siding goes up over here. But in here, I could do it and still be able to do the insulation. I just really wanted to see if it was going to turn out the way that I wanted it to. Also, the thing that you don't see is we now officially have water down here. So I had to dig a 150-foot ditch to get water down here, but that is a huge deal. My wife is very, very ecstatic that I'm no longer cleaning bottles in the kitchen sink. We did purchase this secondhand wood-burning stove that will be used down here during the wintertime, so I'm excited to have that. I've got to do a little bit of work on it. I'm going to go build a fire in it outside, and then I've got to take a wire brush to knock some of the rust off. The previous owner let it get a little bit wet, but that's not going to hurt how it functions, thankfully. While we're at it, I will show y'all this over here. This is no secret. We have been working on tumbler setups for a good while now. Right now, this is what we've been using to test out motors. So I wanted to test out a direct drive motor with no belting. And so far, we have one motor that works, one motor that doesn't, one that's ran for 7 to 14 days, one that wouldn't even spin one of the two. So we're learning as we go, and we've just been trying to just take this incredibly slow. The last thing we want to do is turn a product out that is not a good product for everybody to buy. So this was pretty simple to make. You can see that it was CNC machined. This was counterboard with bearings to fit inside of there. This over here was mounted directly to it. We just used some of that regular framing, threw some hose tube over it just for testing purposes. But there again, we're still a pretty good ways out. I'd say maybe by fall, we'll be getting a lot closer to being through with our testing and going into the production scenario. And by then, hopefully I have AC in here because it's starting to get pretty daggum hot here in Alabama. So there's the quick update, guys. There again, it's a mess in here. It's blown up, but we're getting there. I can't wait to get the siding on the walls because then I can start moving the stuff out of the center of the room up against the walls and freeing up a good bit of the room. I'll probably hang that TV sometime this week just to get it out of the way to keep it from getting broken. And I'm trying to decide on the stain color for the siding over here, or to just let it naturally age itself with time. So y'all let me know what you think about that too. One more thing, I am trying to decide right now too currently whether I want to take and continue the roof all the way across to there so that it'll be a loft all the way across the top. It will lower the ceilings to I think about 8.5 foot, but I think that it would make it a lot easier to keep it kind of climate controlled in this little studio area that's going to be over here. I am worried right now currently about the heating and air conditioning getting out of the roof. So we are talking with multiple people about insulation and different things like that. These bottom walls down here, obviously we just use the cellophane, or not cellophane, I forget what you call it. It's this foam stuff. It usually goes in the roofing. And then we filled in behind it with great stuff. And then we're gonna put another layer of this stuff in here just to keep the heat and air inside. And thankfully it's pretty mild here in Alabama. We got to deal with more of the heat than we do the cold. So we'll just have to see how it goes. There again, I hope that this portion of the video didn't bore y'all, but I did have a few people ask about it and I wanted to give y'all a quick update. If y'all enjoyed the video this week, please be sure that you're subscribed. Hopefully I'll be in better shape next week and I will feel well enough to go out and film a lot more. We'll catch you guys in the next adventure.